Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hmm? Yeah, yeah, no, of course, of course. See, and everything. Yeah. Oh, oh. Oh, no, no. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Yeah. 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 Hmm. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. 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 Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, no, we shouldn't. We shouldn't do that. No. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, yeah. Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Oh, is that better now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dear me. So it appears that my first 15 minutes already heard, Lady Chelsea. Huh?
Well, not quite. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, dear me. I apologize, everyone. Okay. I'm not sure I've got time to go back over what I just said. Lady Chelsea, what do you think? Huh?
Maybe be a brief.
Very brief. Thank you, Lady Chelsea. And I do apologise, the audience. Lady Chelsea could hear me because we're in relative proximity, and others could not. And I now see why I'm receiving so many calls suddenly. Oh dear. Lady Chelsea, let me do this very quickly. First of all, I would recognise Ian King and recognise he's taken us from night to day. Thank you, Ian King. Again, I must say, and I'm going to re-emphasize, I want to give praise and enough respect to Pa Kombrabai, the founder and leader of Galaxy Radio, okay, who we hope to have on the program later on in the program. I want to recognize Elder Erekute, that wise African whose wise words and wisdom I've listened to for many years. Where are you, Elder Erekute? I want to give praise and respect to Dr. Man Abu Ratata, that strong African man. His determination, his love for his wife, it's always something that always warms my heart when he speaks about his wife, and he coins those wonderful poems about the love for his wife. Enough respect to you. Mm-hmm. Enough respect to you, I say to Dr. Ratata. I give praise and respect, of course, to Nickel, the most royal. What a name, huh? Yeah. That wise African man, that stalwart, the longest serving pilot on this station. Enough respect to you. Nickel, the most royal. And never forgetting, of course, never forgetting the solutions finder, Empress Janice, that mountain of intellect, that mountain of personal courage and strength, someone who I've learned to respect over time. I give respect to the Empress Janice. Mm-hmm. Much love to you, my Empress. Much love to you. The solutions finder. And I said earlier on, whenever you have a solutions finder in your midst, hope is always with you. And where there is hope, anything is possible. Anything is achievable. Yes, my praise to you, my Empress. But of course, never forgetting the important group who we very often do not talk about enough, and that is, of course, our technologists, the engineers who keep this station going since, Lady Chelsea, 1984. Yeah? Yeah? I want to give praise and enough respect to the technologists, the engineers who kept this station going for all that time. Okay? So thank you. And we hope to have Pa Kombrabai in our midst, finally.
Yeah.
to share with us a few moments of his time, Lady Chelsea. Hopefully that will go smoothly rather than my sound this morning. Okay. Okay. And I won't go over too much of the health messages, other than to say, I want you all to consider carefully the nutritional advice that I provide each week on the amount of sugar, the amount of salt, the amount of fat or cholesterol that we ingest into our bodies, okay? I ask you to consider carefully how much you're ingesting and consider reducing the amount of salt, sugar, and cholesterol, usually from meat cholesterol. I ask you to consider it. Please reduce it. I ask you, more importantly, to increase the amount of fruits and vegetables, the amount of exercise that you carry out each day. Exercise is so important, as I said to Lady Chelsea a moment ago. Often I used to say 5 minutes, but the experts have been telling me no, 15 minutes is the minimum per day if you want to maintain a healthy lifestyle into your older age. So 15 minutes, folks. I've got my weight somewhere around here, Lady Chelsea. Where's my weight? There we go. Oh, there we go. Ah. There you are, Lady Chelsea. This is proof for you. Is that enough for you?
Yeah.
Well, you know, these weights have served me well, I can tell you. They have served me very well. Oh, no. It's vitally important. And enjoy exercising. Get your heart racing. A bit of sweat comes off your brows. That's what should happen. Please, my people, exercise is vital. Remember, we have an epidemic of diabetes in our communities. Remember, we have an unusually high levels of hypertension in our communities, I say to you all. And indeed, we have above average numbers of people who are overweight. Yeah, we're carrying too much weight and putting undue strain on our heart and general physiology. Yeah, I ask you to consider these steps as a way to maintaining a long, healthy lifestyle. And as we had in our previous show, I should mention two aspects. First of all, consider time for yourself. Take care of your spiritual. Take care of your mental health. Okay? Your mental health is vital. Yeah? And if in doubt, if you've got any feelings of insecurity as regards your mental health, please, my people, seek out advice. And if you're too shy to seek out advice, contact me and I will signpost you to an appropriately ethically centric specialist in the field. Okay? I'll be more than happy to signpost you to the right person. But if in doubt, do not suffer in silence. And of course, as Brother Kwame Nottingham would remind us, it's important for us to consider and think through our spiritual health and raise our energies, yeah, before the day begins. So to meditation, think through all the pains that might be affecting us and allow us to be freed from those bondages, allow our spiritual health to rise. Yeah, vitally important. A few weeks ago, we had a young sister. Oh, I shouldn't call her my sister. My daughter, yes, my daughter, who is a sexual health specialist, appeared on my program. Okay. And I hope you'd all agree, she provided a really useful overview of the various sexual infections that are prevalent in our community. I want to say thank you to her for having the courage and the confidence to come along and speak about the issue, which she feels passionately about, okay? So I say to you all, if you've got a new partner, before you engage in togetherness, it's too early in the morning, yeah, Lady Chelsea, togetherness, okay? I wish to encourage you to seek out advice, okay? Now, she mentioned a number of places you can go just to get your sexual status resolved. What I mean by that, to ensure that you are not carrying, unbeknown to you, an STI, a sexually transmitted infection. Yeah, that's what it means, STI. Vitally important. So you can go to your local sexual health clinic, go to your GP, or if you live in Britain, you can go online and take advantage of the online service, and that is the sh.org, sh24.org, okay, which is an organization, the sexual health online organization that can provide advice and send you the required implements if required. So SA24 is a brilliant opportunity for many who are a bit shy on the subject. But she made it clear, STIs in our community is extremely high, way above the average, and it's only above the average because we refuse to discuss it in public. We must get away from such petty taboos. We must take care of our sexual health. STIs are prevalent in those who at least expect to have it. They are prevalent there. Seek advice. It's always anonymous and it's the right thing to do. That's what I'm going to say on the subject, but I wish to encourage you all to do so. Really important. Your health is our health. Remember, you are not alone. Okay, I think I said enough. Lady Chelsea, is that enough?
Yeah, no, that was good.
And I think she said it very well. Did you want to say anything on the sexual health part?
No, I think we covered everything. Yeah, I think being tested was the main thing, and that's for everybody, not just new partners. So everyone just get tested regardless.
Thank you, Lady Chelsea. Thank you very much. Do you know what I'm going to do, Lady Chelsea? I would go to recognising past contributors to the show. Do you mind if I hand over to you now? And you might want to make some initial commentary, but you might want to go into young Manakai's book.
Okay. Yeah. So a past contributor of I think almost a year ago now. I think was young Malachi, who came on with his mother, Sister Sekmet, who he really loved their interview that they did. They're very informative and gave a good experience and view on homeschooling and homeschooling as a Black family, to the point where we now promote their Malachi's book, which he wrote at 14. It's called Tutankhamun, The Tale of the Adventurous Boy King. And this is part of the prize with £25, the book that he wrote. One of the things that his mum taught him was about Black history and Black leaders and stuff, and which is one of the reasons why he wrote about Tutankhamun. And yeah, this part where we do a little competition for children, where I have 2 questions, and as I said, the prize is the book that he wrote, and £25. So one question.
Again, I think they want to hear the £25 louder. That might be an enticement.
Yeah, so £25 is part of the prize, which comes with the book. So yeah, I do get £25. Yeah, it's part of the prize. So a little bit of money for you.
I'm told you. I know you may not believe it, but you need to speak up even louder. I'm told.
Oh, goodness. All right. Yeah. So the prize is the book and £25. As part of the competition we do every week. To support Malachi, as we thought he was an amazing guest and was a young person who needed promoting and praising. So I have 2 questions, one for under 10 and one for 11 to 16-year-olds. I'll just give out the number so everyone can be ready, and then I'll do the questions. So the number to call is 020 348 15240. Then you'll be asked for a PIN number, which is 3 7 0 7 3 3 4 3 9 7, followed by the # sign. Okay, the first question for under 10s. First question is for under 10s.
Question 1. How do you spell Tutankhamun?
So that's how do you spell Tutankhamun? And then the second question for 11 to 16-year-olds.
Question 9. Who or what did the people of Kemet worship during the time of Tutankhamun?
So that's who or what did the people of Kemet worship at the time of Tutankhamun?
Now, they sound like straightforward questions, but whoa. It will be interesting to see how people generally cope with this. So I'm fascinated to hear how they cope. These are, and I suppose if there's any difficulty, it would be that history such as this was not generally taught in schools. Although we as a community have a duty to teach our own history to our own children.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. You know, but I do understand many parents who don't know, and therefore within the community, and we've had teachers on the program, of course. We might need to think about young parents, preparing them for parenthood, and that preparation, of course, is part of this history lesson, I suppose. We just need to better organise ourselves as a community, because I know young people are thirsty for knowledge. Yeah, always thirsty for knowledge. So it is interesting. So we'll see how many respond to that attempt, our continued attempt to encourage young people, or indeed their parents to encourage young people to come along and respond to those questions and win what? £25 seems to be reasonable, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Would you mind winning £25?
I wouldn't mind.
I wouldn't mind. Anyway, there you go. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Whilst most people are considering that, I wonder, Lady Chelsea, is there any events that have occurred this week that you want to give light to? I've thought of one. Whilst I'm doing this, you might want to think of another event that you can think about that's caught your eye, issue in the news, unless you can think of one now. But otherwise, let me do one. I want to recognise Lewis Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who, I must say, I don't mind, in fact, I will say it, was robbed of his record-breaking 8th World Championship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was leading a race, something happened, and the Formula One management conspired to force him into a position in which he then lost the race. I won't go for the details.
Mm-hmm.
And I must say, I was infuriated. And, he's the only one of only 2 non-white drivers in the,
Okay.
Yeah. But he's the most successful driver of all times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And his father was there when it happened. And what his father did at the end of the race?
Well.
When his father hugged him and spoke to him and centered him. So by the time of Lewis turning around to conduct the usual international television interview, he was calm, focused, his brain was working well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He complimented the winner, whose name I do not need to call. Okay. Mm-hmm. He complimented his fans and those who were present in the stadium. And he thanked the creator for life, Mm-hmm. So this is really important, really important. So I would recognize him. And give praise and say, praise Jah, Rastafari, to Lewis Hamilton. Long may you remain as centered and focused and win not only 8 or 9, but 10 world championships, because the others have to cheat in order to gain their world championship. You do it on merit, on skill and determination. I want to give a real strong fist to him, strong fist to him. And his father, his loving father, I give such praise to him, That's when father's so important. Exactly that moment when I would have been infuriate, really furious, his father spoke up, Lady Chelsea, I've got a message telling me that you should give the number out again slower.
Slow.
You never know. You may have the young person who wishes to answer your questions. Go ahead.
All right. So the number is 02 03 48 15 240, and then the PIN is 3707 33 4397, followed by the hash key sign.
And indeed, those of you who are watching us via YouTube or Facebook, and those of you who might want to use that as always as a useful alternative, you'll notice that the numbers are on your screen at the moment. And of course, you can find this show under The Motivator Show on Facebook, and of course, The Motivator Show on YouTube as well. And I think it's, how do you do it, Lady Chelsea? You could do the thumbs up, so you like it. Yeah, like that. Yeah. You can see the thumbs up. There you are. I know I could do the animation, but I like to do it myself. There you are. The thumbs up, so you like it. Or indeed, you can subscribe, which means that you'll be notified of the subjects of the forthcoming program before anyone else. Okay, if you subscribe. So I wish to. I believe I've got quite a few hundred subscribers on both YouTube and of course Facebook. So please continue to subscribe. Okay, receive notification of each program. Find us on YouTube and Facebook. Thumbs up and subscribe. There you are. Oh, I can do that. It's like that. That's right, isn't it? No?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, I'll give the number out again one more time for those parents and young people who wish to respond to this question. And they're straightforward questions, and you win £25 and a signed copy of Malachi's book. So the number to call, it's 0203 481 5240. You're asked to enter a PIN number. It's 3707 33 43 97, followed by the ash sign. I know she said it, but look, the ash sign is, of course, the vertical and horizontal lines on your keypad. Mm-hmm. You've got to tell them, you've got to describe it. Ash sign. Sounds like a cigarette ash or something. No, why is it called ash anyway?
Because that's what my mum called it.
What's
the hashtag on social media? It's a hash sign. That's what older people called it. I don't know.
Right, there you are. The horizontal sign on your keypad. There you are. So if you can answer those questions posed by Lady Chelsea, we'd love to hear from you. Love to hear from you. If you're unsure, you can see the number on the screen if you're viewing the program via Facebook or YouTube. Put in D space Motivator Show. Okay, you'll find us on either Facebook or YouTube. So there you are. There you are. So So I mentioned Lewis Hamilton. Give praise to Lewis Hamilton. Anything that's caught your attention in the news, Lady Chelsea, that you might want to mention? Anything random? Doesn't matter. Anything random. There you are.
I suppose it wasn't this week, but Barbados not having the Queen as head of state or the country or something like that. That's
serious, isn't it, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Now, and I'm astonished that born in Jamaica. I'm surprised that Jamaica hasn't done it already.
Yeah, same.
So I want to give praise, enough respect to the people of Barbados. Yeah, praise, enough respect to them. The Barbados is where the United Nations Race Conference was held, which was the place in Bridgetown, Barbados, which was the founding place for the Global African Congress, which is the reparations organization which had enormous influence worldwide. Yeah, and indeed, members of the Galaxy management, including Chief Pa Kombrabai, who we hope to hear from soon, was in attendance, and we might be able to get some words from him about that conference and his experience there. But I do recall that was a tremendous experience. So maybe it is fitting that it is Barbados that has taken the lead. Okay, so I'm going to say again, enough respect to the people of Barbados. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one, Lady Chelsea. I like that. I like that one. That's a good one. Well, Lewis Hamilton. Well, you know what? He's in a sport that was traditionally a old white man sport, like cricket used to be.
Yeah.
And it's still very much an old white man sport, but usually they have young white boys in their teams, And, in the very early days when Lewis got in there, I think in 2007, there were no non-white drivers, and all the engineers, all the mechanics, etc., were all white. Quite remarkable. How on earth they could consider that to be meritable, I have no idea. And still, those instincts still prevail today, I've got to say. Right? Those instincts still prevail today. Lady Chelsea, I'm going to let you handle this call here. I think it's a call from 8378. And over to you, Lady Chelsea.
A number, sorry. The caller with 8378, good morning.
Hi, good morning. This is Pa Kombrabai. I'm having some problem logging in.
Oh, my chief, we're supposed to see you coming on your phone, my chief.
Yes, I am, but I'm having problem logging in at the moment. The machine is asking me for password, so
you've forgotten the password.
I put that password in, and then it still comes up with another security lock system that comes up. So I'm having problem with that.
My chief, we want to see you. Oh, Lord.
I know you want. I want to see everyone as well. But, the problem is that this machine is not reacting as it should. So what can I do? And I dress in my regalia so the whole world can see me.
Okay. Now, you're a little early. Let's see if we can resolve the problem for you. Let's see. My chief, I wish I could see. I can't see through your phone now, can I? You're on. Oh, okay. Oh, my chief, we this is the memorable occasion. We need to see you, okay? Don't you be laughing. You remember the first code you're supposed to enter? I can say that now, it doesn't matter. Remember...
The code is not the problem. The code is not the problem. I put the code in as was given to me, as instructed. But at the bottom, joining the meeting doesn't come up. That symbol doesn't come up. So join the Zoom doesn't come up at all.
Oh, I left it open. It was open. It should be open. So you can see the Zoom icon, can you?
No, it's not there. That icon is not there at all.
Can't see the Zoom icon. So
it doesn't come up at all.
It will be on your desktop in that case. My chief, do you have is yours an iPhone or you've got WhatsApp on your phone, haven't you?
WhatsApp? Yes, I have.
Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to see if I can resolve, because we need to see you. It will not be the same. You may be able to see us via YouTube. You'll know that we've got the logo, we've got it set for you. And Lady Chelsea is preparing Lady Chelsea for her questions for you shortly. So this is going to be really important. So we want to see you. So I'm going to ask Lady Chelsea to do some freestyling. Okay, and the chief and I are going to try and resolve this technical problem. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Lady Chelsea, and I know Lady Chelsea can't watch the freestyle when I'm not available. Okay, so she may have an interesting anecdotal experience to share with the audience. So of course she's scratching her head now. Anecdotal experience you can share with the audience whilst I speak to you off air, so that we can resolve this technical problem. I'm going to hand over to Lady Chelsea. She's here, and I know she will come up with some ideas. Give us an idea of what is the significance of Barbados agreeing put a time frame to abolish Queen Elizabeth II as monarch of Barbados. But why do you think it's significant? And just share with the audience why that one was one that you identified. Whilst I log off, I'll leave you to it. I'm off now. There you are.
Yes. Sorry, this is gonna be terrible. Yeah, I kind of said that because I thought it was important thing to share, which I think everyone should have seen. I don't know of any other Caribbean country that has done that. That may just be me being ill-informed, but I think them doing it was a good thing, as it was. I think it's a good thing to lead the way. I don't really believe in any country kind of having, and there's countries all around the world part of the Commonwealth and stuff. I think it's quite outdated, and I'm not really sure what the benefits the countries kind of reap from being a part of the Commonwealth. I'm not sure if it's any different for countries like Australia and Canada who are white countries. I'm not sure if it's different, and there's probably no better benefits and stuff, but for places in Africa and the Caribbean, I'm not sure of the benefits of them having the Queen as head of state. Yes, that's the main reason why. So I think it'd be a good thing for other countries to be doing that, like Jamaica, as Motivator said. I'm not really sure why it's taken countries so long. Maybe I'm assuming that it's maybe a monetary gain, but then also I don't really see, I'm not sure if the people in those countries see any monetary gain or benefits to knowing and having that. I don't see Black countries being represented here or pushed here in any way to kind of even bring equality, as we kind of see even with the Meghan Markle stuff that's happening. They don't really show that they're working with Black countries or helping them. It's just the Queen or royal family going around to countries and having a quick photo op with children and schools and health things, but not really doing anything, which is, I think, a common thing that we see. A common thing that we see with the royal family and with what they're doing. That's what I thought was important. I think I don't really know much about it, to be honest with you. It's just something that I thought was important to share at the time. So I'm kind of left with not much to say, to be honest, which is quite awkward. I don't know if anyone wants to call in and have a conversation and help me out a little bit in some kind of way, form. So I'm going to just hand out the number in case anyone has anything else to say or they think is important while they try and sort out the technical difficulties. So the number to call is 020 348 15240. And the PIN number you'll be asked for is 3707334397, followed by the hash key sign or symbol, whatever. And that's the same number for the competition for Malachi's book, which comes with the prize of £25, and the book that he wrote, signed copy of the book that he wrote, Tutankhamun, The Tale of the Adventurous Boy King. So if anyone would like to have anything to say before the guest kind of comes on, what else can I talk about? I'm not sure. This is so awkward. Okay. I could maybe do the questions again, just in case, the kids are up now or like have time. So I'm literally just doing questions because my mind has gone blank. Okay, cool. So it's the same two questions that I had from before, which is for the under 10s and the 11 to 16-year-olds. I'm just going to find for them now. So the first question that we have, which is the same question, I'll try and change it next week, but same question. I thought it'd be more helpful to kind of continue to have the same question so people would have time to research and like come back prepared. That hasn't worked out for me yet, but we'll see, and I'll see if I change it. And maybe people are just stuck on these questions, as the Motivator said, because they were too hard. But yeah, so the first question is for under 10s. And yeah.
Question 1, how do you spell Tutankhamun?
So that's, how do you spell Tutankhamun? And the question for 11 to 16-year-olds.
Question 9, who or what did the people of Kemet worship during the time of Tutankhamun?
So that's, who or what did the people of Kemet worship at the time of Tutankhamun? And yeah, so I've done everything I can possibly do, and he's not back. Okay, maybe he is back. No, okay. Okay, good. Oh, okay. Okay, something else I can talk about. Okay, so recently, okay, thank God you're back.
I need to give you more practice at this, huh? Mm-hmm.
Not something I want to do.
Okay, all right. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to resolve the problem with the chief, but I've made it clear to him, you have to come back again, my chief.
Okay, yeah.
Chief Pa Kombrabai, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Right, okay. All right, thank you. First of all, thank you for joining us this morning.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a long time, huh?
It's one of those situations, but don't worry. We can resolve it one way or the other.
I want to introduce you. I think this is the first time to Lady Chelsea. Lady Chelsea, go ahead.
Hi. Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning to you.
So, voice? Mm-hmm. Good morning to you. Chief, thank you for joining us today. Okay, and you're the first name I have to call each time we begin the show, because your achievements over these years, is one that is a testament for the rest of the community. That where someone has a vision, that vision can come to pass, regardless of all the obstacles that might have been placed in your way. Okay. So I want to say, before I hand over to Lady Chelsea, my greatest respect goes out to you at all times. And I'm honored that you allowed me to be a pilot here on Galaxy Radio, afiwe.net. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay.
My pleasure, my brother. My pleasure.
Thank you. I'm going to hand you over to the capable hands of Lady Chelsea.
Okay.
All right. Hi. Good morning. How are you today?
My sister, I'm doing great. I'm doing good. I'm just a little bit unfortunate that you just can't see me at all.
Yeah.
And the rest of the listeners just can't see, to put a face to the voice and a voice to the face.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I was expecting to see your face, but it's fine. I can hear you having a conversation. It's all good. So yeah, just get started. So I know that from Demotivated that you started Galaxy Radio, I believe, in 1984, and that was quite a bit before I was born. So I don't really know much about it.
Very long time.
Oh, so nice, isn't it? Huh?
But I just want to know, why did you start Galaxy Radio in the first place? What happened for you to?
I started Galaxy Radio. I was in the military. I was in the army.
Oh, okay.
And while I was in the army, sometimes, for example, looking at a Sunday, a Friday, Saturday, when we have got our strong end, you call it weekends, I'll be sitting down, laying down in barracks, and have nothing to do. And the station that we're listening to, I could not identify with these stations. I couldn't associate myself with these stations, the music that they were playing, and there was nothing that I could actually say it's about me as an African stroke, a black person. Mm-hmm. And I was trying my utmost best, and I came out of the army just as the Falkland War started. Mm-hmm. And there were times when because I was in Hampshire, and I couldn't listen to most of the London stations. They comes in very weak. People like Tony Blackburn, Tony Williams, Alex Pascal, those were the people I was listening to. And they comes in very, very faint, and sometimes the reception disappear. And I came out of the army, and at that time I was married. The Voice newspaper was in Brixton, and we used to have paper delivery, and my ex-wife at the time says to me, there's King's College Hospital is looking for a radio presenter. Do you would like to become a radio presenter? That didn't, in my thought, my dream, didn't even want to become a radio presenter. And so I said, let me give it a try. And so I went to King's and interview, why do you want to become a presenter? I just, explained to them as I explained to you as I started. And they said, okay. At the time, I don't know if you know, where many people, elderly people, older people, not young people like yourself, hospital used to have hospital radio. Those hospital radio was tubing. You used to have a little tube. They put it in your ears, and everyone would hear the same station. They used to have a big remote system that sent the signal in through tube. So it was also one main system that they have. So you couldn't change the station as you wanted to. And so King's College Hospital was one of the few hospitals at the time wanted to have an FM band radio that within the hospital grounds. So people can have a choice of what they listen to. The BBC was coming down to train presenters. And so I was fortunate enough that I was one of the many few people that was, invited to become presenters on the station who were working on the station before. But at the same time, there was a catch to it. You didn't just go in and become a radio presenter. We had was to do some form of charity for the hospital first. And the charity consists of, you have to give up your Sunday to sell pens, hospital cups, badges for the hospital gate. So if you're one of those people who are shy, then you wouldn't get anywhere. And so I took it on. And within say 8 weeks, as you would say, I was invited to train to become a radio presenter. I stayed there for 3 months as a radio presenter. I used to go on the ward, go and take. That's where I met one of our beloved spouse and Mama Margaret. I met her. She was a matron on the ward, and I met her. I was young, and yes, I went on the ward, and many of the nurses can't really have a liking. So I was one of the presenters that was actually sent on the ward and all the hospital ward to take requests from all the patients who were going to be on their own. I would like a particular specific music to play for them. And I stayed there, as I said, for 3 months. After that 3 months, I said, something, I think I can do this for myself. And a friend of mine knew where I was living, knew that I was working on hospital radio. And he came to me and he said, we're about to set up a radio station. Would you like to become part of it? And I said, yes. And so I left hospital radio and became an independent radio presenter, as they call it, pirate radio presenter. The name of the station at the time was called Galaxy. I became the engineer for the station. Used to be the one to climb on the building and electronically endow, where I can do things for myself. And I became the engineer of the station. Mm-hmm. And so it's a long story, but I'm trying to see if I can coattail it as much as I can.
Yes.
And during that period of time, the station went off the air because those days, pirate station used to get busted 3-4 times a week by the authority. And the myth was the pirate station was creating problem for airline. So pirate station couldn't stay on. The only station that was on for a very long time was Radio Caroline. But it's so that this station stays on for a period of time. It went off for about 8 months. And I don't celebrate Christmas, as you call it, the Christmas. And the time the person who owned Galaxy came and he says to me, I know that you don't celebrate Christmas, and the station has been off for some time. I'm going to give you the equipment and you do what you have to do with it. And hence, that's the rebirth of the new Galaxy in 1984 to where we are today.
Okay, wow. That was a great story. There was a lot to it. That was very interesting. Do you see Galaxy Radio as a commercial venture?
No, I don't see Galaxy as a commercial. Galaxy is an information station. As one of our presenters said, it's a station for the voiceless. It's a station that we can have people like yourself and many others who wouldn't have the opportunity to voice their opinion. And Galaxy is one of those platforms that our listeners, stroke the African community, and even the European stroke white community can voice their opinion. And we don't rush our listeners and give them a second or two to express themselves. And Galaxy is one of those stations, not commercial, but a station international to give the voice for those who would like to view and to voice the opportunity of any opinion that they've got that they think others would like to hear.
Mm.
You have something?
No, I've listened to you, my chief, and that's really inspiring. That's really inspiring. Those who do can. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Sorry, Lady Chelsea, continue. Go on.
Yeah, so with that, I think from this show and then a lot of other shows that are on the station, a lot of them are trying to inform or de-brainwash the audience in some kind of way. But why do you think that you can de-brainwash the community? You trained in human psychology or race relations or anything like that, or is it just off your experiences?
It's from experience. I mean, it's only a few of us here in Galaxy that has been a university graduate. I myself haven't even touched. I have been to a university on 3 occasions. And the 3 occasions that I've been to a university door is because 3 of my children have been graduated, and I've taken them to university, go back, pick them up from university when they graduated. That's the only time I've ever been to the door of a university here in England. So it's experience, growing experiences from what we have actually experienced, and we get a certain knowledge from self and knowing that we think that we can I mean, we learn as we go along, and I learn as I go along, because what I was taught at King's College Hospital, I've learned a hell of a lot more since I became an independent person and doing Galaxy for where I am, through the research that I've gone through and the topic subject matter that we have taken on. And I've learned a lot from that. And through that, I think it is wise for us to point out that there's got to be a balance. The balance whereby who wrote the history that we read today? Most of the books that we looked in is European and give us their perspective of us as African people. So we need to have a balance in that sense. And for example, let me give you a typical example to where we are now as de-brainwashing. How many people today will be celebrating the 25th? The 25th is a typical example that I can use to show you how we need to de-brainwash ourselves. There are many young people like yourself and I myself, because we were brought up as Christian family. My mom and dad go to church as Christian, and so we're so-called living into a so-called society of British, which they're supposed to be Christian, a Christian country. And we were taught that the 25th of December is Christ's birthday, and that has been given to us. So all the myth that has been taught, we don't see it as myth, we see it as literally truth. But growing up, and we realize, and from reading and actually do our research, realize that this individual as Christ wasn't born on the 25th. The Bible is supposed to be the encyclopedia of truth and to guide our people. But there's no part of the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation and any one of the New Testament, will never show you that Christ was born on the 25th. So it's a myth and it's not true. And as I said, if anyone can throw me any verse or scripture in the Bible to tell me that Christ was born on the 25th, then I become a Christian tomorrow. So it is not true. And many young people will grow up today and accept the 25th as Christ's birthday, unless you go into the knowledge of know thyself to say, I am going to research it. You wouldn't have known that, because you literally take on the myth that has been told to you. So they show you that there got to be a balance out of the de-brainwashing, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, if I may, Rachel, I think it absolutely does, and you're right. The propaganda that we are all exposed to has a detrimental impact upon the psychology of Black people, African peoples in this country, and indeed worldwide. The idea that anything that's Black is bad, and if white is good. You know? You can tell a white lie, and but if you tell a Black lie, then it must be very bad. A black sheet of the family, it must be very bad. You're white and it's so good. It's, from a psychological point of view, that has profound negative impact upon our peoples. And I completely agree with you, Chief, that we've got to counter the negative propaganda that shapes the attitude of other peoples to us as African peoples. And if we don't challenge those propagandas, they will continue to wreak havoc in our communities. I know the communities that who believe they're enjoying the privileges of being white or otherwise, believe that they are enjoying privileges, but actually they do themselves damage as well. And I've observed many people from other communities doing themselves damage. And a really interesting statistic was brought home to me recently by an African man who was actually a policeman. What he pointed out is that across the world, but most certainly true in Britain and United States of America, that the 99% of all the mass killers in the United States and here in Britain are white men.
Oh, yes.
And in America, people dying at gunshots every day. But those who commit the greatest crimes, the mass killings, are white men. And he said that it's not publicized as such, but the impact is that whenever you encounter these mass killings of innocent people, it's invariably white men. It doesn't mean that other people don't do it, don't misunderstand, but overwhelming majority are white men. And that has, he believes, a profound impact upon the psyche of white men, particularly in the United States and here in Britain, in terms of how they're feeling for other people, or lack of feelings for other people, and he said it's a big problem for this society because it means that this society is always on edge. At any point, it could fall over. And I recited earlier on what happened to Lewis Hamilton last week. I know you may not have seen it, my chief, but don't worry. But
I was listening to the highlight on it when I got in on Sunday, because I was here in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
I got home and I was listening to the highlight, and I heard where people like Mercedes did try to appeal against the decision that was being made. But from what I get to understand, and I saw in the evening in the news, Monday evening, highlight news, they were showing the race. And the show where there was some incident and the safety cars came out.
That's right. Yeah.
And a few of the cars passed the safety car, which they should not have passed the safety car.
Exactly.
And so Lewis was one of the cars that was held back.
That's
and
right.
because of that, it enabled him to lose the race.
That's right.
But the race supervisor, they claim that it was an all-go, and everyone should have passed the safety car, including Lewis, which he did not, because he was going by the rules.
That's
and
right.
Because he stuck to the rules, then obviously we see the outcome where he lost the race by, as we know that they didn't want him to win it. So it was good for them to say he lost the race.
And the fact is that it was clear that the rules had been broken. So the initial appeal was to the very people who broke the rules. So that was always going to fail. But the next appeal was to an independent court. But Lewis told the team, don't do it. I'm going to win on the track. And I'm going to beat this young boy. And I'm going to beat him well on the track. I'm going to beat him on merit. So it'd be irrefutable that my 8 times championship, I've earned it on merit. He didn't want it to happen through the courts. But it's blatant for all to see that they cheated. It was a clear cheat. But I've observed, and it's interesting to observe the community that I live in, how they behaved. They were so desperate for this young boy to win that they were prepared to cheat in broad daylight, And they couldn't distinguish. This is what I mean by the mass killers part of it. They couldn't distinguish the clear breach of the rules that had happened, and it was visible to us all. So you can create a fancy land that you won, but actually, the person who won the race actually should not have won the race, based upon the rules. But it's interesting. But they're prepared to twist it in such a way that they win. And that's what's been happening, the way in which they recite history. They recite our achievement in science, astrology, the way they recite our achievement in mathematics, or indeed the destruction of all our literature, That's how they do it. They twist it so that they can look good. They believe they make themselves look good. But the effect, though, on our children, our peoples, from a psychological point of view, is quite profound. Self-esteem, self-confidence is undermined because you're amongst people who are often, well, I don't think sometimes they're normal, to be honest with you. I have to wonder sometimes, I have to wonder from a psychological point of view, I have to wonder. And I say this blatantly in open public, I have to wonder, because clearly the injustice is so profound, in some cases has gone on for generations, but they refuse to open their eyes to it. And I have a problem right now in my own party on particularly representation, which I hope the party does the right thing, But I won't discuss it now, but it will come out at some point. we've got to. That's why this station is vital, and stations like this is vital to de-brainwash, to counter the negative propaganda that seeks to destabilize society. So well done to you, my chief. Well done to you. Sorry, Lady Chelsea, I've talked on for a little too long. Go on, over to you. Over to you.
Okay. In your opinion, are Black and African peoples from the continent of Africa receptive to Galaxy radio messages as much as people from the Caribbean or born in Britain, would you say?
I think it's a wide spectrum. Big question. It's a wide spectrum because statistically we know that we get calls from various parts of the continent. For example, we have got one of our brother Kalanji, who is in Namibia, and he rings on a regular basis. I've got people in Sierra Leone who are actually we record in Galaxy and play it back, and there are 2 radio stations that I'm very close to in Sierra Leone that I actually set up in Sierra Leone, and I know that they actually use Galaxy as a kind of a base of knowledge in Sierra Leone to a lot of the people. And I know that in Ghana, of course, there's another station called Right FM that I'm associated with as well, and we speak to presenters from Right FM. So there are the various parts around on the continent of people who listen to Galaxy, and the carriers beyond the Caribbean. We have got in Jamaica. Regularly, we have calls from Jamaica. And yes, you have mentioned America. We have callers from America. So right around the world, we have got a wide spectrum of people, including people here in the UK that listen to Galaxy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Can I just add on that, Chief? And you are right. Often, of course, I know that you mentioned our brethren in Namibia, but he used to live here, and he now lives in Namibia. But I don't believe I've heard Namibians called into the station. I think that would be a fair observation.
There was only once I had an interview that didn't. The link wasn't very clear. That I had a link with a radio station that was set up by Brother Kalanji in Namibia some time ago. The link wasn't very clear, so that interview didn't go through. That was the only independent interview away from Brother Kalanji that we have had from Namibia.
Yeah, it is an important issue as to we are seeking to de-brainwash, to counter the negative propaganda which we experience here in this country. But of course, it's the same experience for our peoples across the continent and the Caribbean, and of course the United States. It is important that we continue to bridge those gaps of distances with our people on the continent, and we need to continue to look at different ways in which we can interact with them, so that their issues are our issues. And as you might know, I've had quite a number of our people from the continent on this show. You might not be aware of Ndidi Shewa from Nigeria, reciting what's happened in Nigeria, and she was in the very early days a lone voice discussing the conditions of particularly Christians in northern part of Nigeria and in their interactions with Islamic or Muslims in that part of the country, particularly those Muslims of the Fulani communities, in conjunction with both Igbos and Hausa. And it is interesting to hear the dialogue from that part of the world. And of course, similarly, I know that others are also seeking to continue to make contact with us. My chief, are you still with us? I see you come on again. Are you with us again?
I am with you. I am trying to play around, and I think I'm getting through.
Oh, we're good to see you.
I can see you.
Oh,
I can see you. I'm trying to see if I can.
Yeah. So the camera. I think that's right. You're on Zoom now. So what you need to do, there's a red mark over the video. It will say video. Click it once and the red mark will come off, and that should activate the camera. Ooh.
A A red mark where?
It's on the bottom left-hand corner. You see a sign that says mute and stop video. And over stop video, you see a red mark. If you touch it with the mouse, it should clear it, and that would activate the camera. Ooh, there you go. Oh my gosh! Chief Pa Kombrabai, welcome. Well done. That's determination, you know? That is determination.
So you proved that I have to be determined.
Yes.
To do certain things, and I'm determined to try. I'm prepared to try in every aspect.
There you go. There you are. So, Chief Pa Kombrabai, I introduce you again to Lady Chelsea. Lady Chelsea, Chief Pa Kombrabai.
Good morning. Hi.
Hey, good morning.
I just like the voice. Good morning. Oh, thank you, Chief. Thank you. And now you continue to keep your phone on, because I notice on the Zoom you don't have the audio. So keep your phone on so we can continue to hear you. I'm going to hand you back to Lady Chelsea. Lady Chelsea.
Yeah. So I heard that Galaxy Radio won a prize for its work in the community. Is that true?
We have, and some time ago, we were selected, but you know, it's all politics. Even with community radio station, it's loaded with politics, and so that was one of the only time we won a community award. There were other times that we were actually selected, but nothing happened. So there you go. We're not here for that, my sister. We're here for the bigger things, because some people see that, and those who are getting the award, are they worthy of it? What is it that they're doing? For the development of the community.
Oh. All right, that makes sense. Why doesn't Galaxy Radio have presenters from different parts of Britain?
In what sense? I mean, we are now. Let me try and see if I can answer the question.
Okay.
In the best unique way that I know how. In different parts of Britain, we used to have a presenter. For example, he was somewhere that was on Brother from this. Oh gosh, what is his name now? Brother Aston. We used to have a brother who used to come on with Brother Aston. And he was somewhere up in Leeds, Bradford, somewhere that he was working with Brother Aston. Now that we work remotely, there's no reason why we can't have presenters from around the world. For example, our beloved sister Shanice, who is the management here in Galaxy, she worked remotely from the Gambia. A few years ago, I tried to work remotely when I was in Sierra Leone. Someone stole my laptop, so I could not do it successfully as I would like to. So it can happen, and we haven't ruled that out to say that it can't happen. So everything is possible with the remote system, and of course with technology that we have got today.
So, would you mind, Chief? Again, as you know, in my programs, you know, like outcomes. You know, why don't we give a big shout out to those budding presenters out there who might be in different parts of Britain? Because we're very much in London here, okay? Would that be fantastic if someone from Birmingham or from Leeds or Bradford or even from Glasgow or Edinburgh would want to be a presenter on Galaxy Radio at Fiwi.net? You'd welcome them. So give us a number so they can contact you. They may be, you never know.
I don't want to jump the gun. I don't want to jump the gun because here it's a collective with the management. And yes. I myself, as one individual, as part of the managerial group, cannot make a split decision as quickly as this. So it is something that's got to be discussed. And so that's why Galaxy exists as long as it has existed, because one person doesn't make one decision unique like this. The moment one person take on to make decisions, then there will be chaos. So I would not say yes, and make this decision on the radio because there will be implications. So we want to make sure that it's a collectively decision that has been made by the rest of the managerial team.
would you therefore put it to the managerial team that we should actively seek out presenters from other parts of Britain?
It can be that it can happen, and that can be discussed. We can discuss that as part of our agenda at our next managerial meeting.
Brilliant. That's an outcome, Lady Chelsea. You know, we've achieved our goal. We like outcomes from our meetings, from each of our shows. So we know that we are making a meaningful contribution to the development of our communities. Yeah? Praise God. Over to you, Lady Chelsea. Over to you.
Is Galaxy a member of the Black Radio Station Alliance?
No, we are not. We are not a member of the Black Radio Alliance. And one of the reasons, as I said, Galaxy Radio, as they say, it's a bit too outspoken. And there are certain guidelines that they think Galaxy will try to go over. And we don't want to be gagged. We don't want to be bounded. Yes, we know that there are guidelines and there are rules and certain criteria that us as presenter will have to, within ourselves, have to use. But others may think that there's certain topic that Galaxy will take on that we shouldn't take on. And I don't think that there should be any stone that we shouldn't go under and examine what's underneath it. So to become part of the alliance, you're gagged in a sense, per se, you can't say certain things, and certain things, they bound you from stopping you from doing and say certain things as broadcasters.
I'm always tempted to ask you, can we not talk about?
They have got certain rules that they have got, my brother, and you'll have to go and see what they call it now, the manifesto. To see the rules that they have got. Because really, it kind of really hold you back in certain way. And to be honest with you, the fee that they're asking for, it's like doing a fee to become part of the so-called legal network.
Okay. I understand you. Okay. That's fascinating. I'll make inquiries elsewhere another time about that one.
No problem at all.
Lady Chelsea.
I just want to know what your future vision is for Galaxy Radio. Where do you see it going? What do you plan to do?
Well, what we plan to do is to continue to excite and to inform and to entertain our listeners. We see Galaxy not as a stationary beacon, but a beacon for people to actually absorb. So we would like to know that if, for example, Galaxy would be able to leave a legacy of educating our people of know thyself, in a sense of that word, know thyself. It is Galaxy where I get certain information from, and it's for you to know, take on what Galaxy have assist you to do. So Galaxy is like assisting you to take the next step forward.
If I may, my Chief, that's a really interesting question from Lady Chelsea, I must say. What do you see the future? And first of all, I want to agree with every word what you just said. In other words, what you're effectively saying that we've got to make a future for ourselves, but free from all the chains of mental slavery, as it were. Yeah, absolutely. But of course, Galaxy is also a place where people from different parts of the community can come together and find unity of purpose and commonality. That's an essential feature of the station, and I look forward to the day where I'm really ambitious, where we have someone from many parts of the continent of Africa presenting on Galaxy Radio, as well as different parts of Britain presenting on Galaxy Radio. So Galaxy Radio would not be seen as being a radio station dominated by Africans from the Caribbean, as it were, okay? But a station which represents the diversity, the richness of Africa and its peoples around the world. So, if I may, and to add further to what you just said, that Galaxy Radio, as part of this broader vision, is transmitting simultaneously, as this program has now been transmitted, simultaneously across the various platforms that both people our age, my chief, and the Lady Chelsea's age will want to listen via. And so we've got YouTube, we've got Facebook, which we are simultaneously transmitting via. In future, I hope that we'll do SoundCloud as well. I don't believe we can do by TikTok. Can we do TikTok, Lady Chelsea? No, I don't think TikTok does it, but we need to develop the methodology to have excerpt for TikTok eventually, okay? And find other ways to communicate to young people. Because if we're able to capture the imagination of young people like Lady Chelsea here, she wasn't born when the station was created, which is interesting, but it's her generation that will take the station forward when you and I have to make way, as it were, So there's a lot involved there, and I know that there are listeners who care a great deal about Galaxy Radio and would want to be a part of it building its future. Okay, so my question would be that we've not had a community meeting for a long time.
Very much so, very long time. And I must commend people like yourself, where many that have know that. Mm-hmm. You were very instrumental in many of the Galaxy Forum that we have had. We've had many Galaxy Forums, and you were one of the people who at the forefront in assisting us in getting premises to have our forum. And we must let people know that it's not only what Galaxy have done. There are people, before you even joined Galaxy, you were very much on the battlefield to fight for the betterment of our people. So we said thank you very much openly. I may say to you on a one-to-one, but now that you're on a bigger platform, I can let the world know that you were very instrumental in many of the platforms that we have had. You were there to assist us, and we didn't charge, not a penny was being paid. And we say thank you very much. And all the people that you've actually had to work hard to actually speak on behalf of Galaxy when we had our forums. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. So we need more of them. That's what I'm saying. So we, at the moment, we're in lockdown. But my chief, I have to say that in other organisations I belong to, and a good one with the Global African Congress UK, we've held online forums like this. We've had hundreds of people in attendance. And Galaxy could do exactly the same, a discussion forum where we're seeking to share personal experience, to build alliances, and of course, to really solidify a vision for the future. So those who are feeling down, feeling depressed, feeling that they can achieve if we only work together. And so they need Galaxy. They need Galaxy to have regular events. If we can't do it in person, let's do it online. So I'm going to put this one to you. Another outcome. I know what you're going to say. Don't worry. But my chief, Pa Kombrabai, if I were to assist, could Galaxy Radio, maybe by February of next year, hold an online meeting if it were not possible to hold a in-person meeting, to bring the community together to discuss those key issues that are affecting the community?
It is needed. It is needed, and I wouldn't put it down to say no at all. As I said, our computer analyst engineers, they are ready and waiting, and as they are still working tirelessly to get our website up and running as we would like it to. I don't see why another forum, which we were something that we have put together. We think about it already, and yes, it's in the making, and I'm sure that it will be in the near future when this should happen.
Thank you, my chief. So I'll keep remind you, all the management, let's get a Galaxy forum, either in person or online, organised as quickly as possible. The community needs Galaxy. Okay, I don't want to keep emphasising that. Yeah, it's long overdue, and there's much to discuss. And next year, as you know, just a little event will occur in May, which is quite important, okay, because we have the opportunity to vote for, in this case, not for MPs, but for councillors. I've got a slight interest in this subject, and it's so vitally important that the Black community, the African community, has a voice, because, trust me, politicians listen, particularly at a local level, to what local people are saying. And if we are a significant minority, or in some cases a majority in certain part of the country, we absolutely need to get used to punching above our weight or at our weight. And it's always a crime if we are seeking to disenfranchise ourselves and not influence the political process, Because why do we pay these billions of pounds of tax if we're not going to influence how public money is spent or public services are provided? Or indeed, if there is a problem, that we're able to influence and ensure that the issue is dealt with fairly and without prejudice. It only happens when people take responsibility for the locations that they reside in, and they are part of the decision-making process. And I recall, and you don't mind me saying this to you, my chief, that before I accepted the invitation I received from certain members of in this case, the Labour Party, to consider myself as standing as a councillor, I consulted with elders and indeed yourself beforehand.
That's true. That is very true.
I received 100% response that I should go forward. And I say to you all, if that is the case, it means that you're accepting that we are an integral part of the society, even at a local level, okay? And we should have a voice. Right? I see Lady Chelsea, the young person here, is shaking her head. Yes, we need to have a voice, And we should be school governors. That's how I met you. Be school governors and influence what happens in schools where our children are being taught. Yeah? Unless you say otherwise, my chief, I hope that is the message that we want to communicate, why reform is important, and we should discuss those issues so that we can influence the political processes, even at a local level, because these are all local elections that will take place. At a local level, we should influence the political process.
I say no. I have got no problem with that at all. I would never say no to that. This is something that we all have to work towards for the betterment of our community, my brother. I listened to this brother, what his name, that ring us from Leeds, and he always speak about the 42 principle of Mahat. But, for example, young sister like Chelsea and many others, if the principle of Mahat has not been taught to them, they're not going to go and search for it without
explain
having
it to her, my chief. Explain what the word means. Go on, explain it. She's not in her head. Explain what it means. Got to tell her. Balance.
Well, it's reciprocity. It's one of such that it's vital today about self, and Mahat is something that we do without even realize that we do that. Because all the 42 principle is something that we do every day. So if we don't take that on, then we will realize that we are doing it, within the sense of the meaning of Mahat, the reciprocity of truth. And a lot of us doesn't know that. If a lot of our young people have the slightest idea, and the family of some of these young people, we wouldn't be having the amount of killing and stabbing last night here in Peckham. There's another stabbing, someone lost their lives. So if all of our young people know, and the family of some of these young people have an idea of what Mahat is all about, we wouldn't be having that. But why should anyone want to know about Mahat when it's something that is in a book? It's like that because they don't want to know about that. And they're not reading to know about what Mahat is all about. So we still got to struggle among ourselves. And I'm sure before Lady Chelsea should have the inkling of Galaxy, I'm sure, I presume she hasn't heard about Mahat, has she?
No.
No.
There you go. And there are many more like, no disrespect to you, my young sister, and there are many more like herself. So these are the principles that we don't know. And many of the families, especially some of us who were born here and some who come from the carriers beyond, wouldn't have dreamed about Mahat. So it's a long road for us to go. And yes, and this is where, for example, the Galaxy Forum will come in, so we can help to establish some of these pillars of Mahat in our community.
Yes, you're quite right, my chief. And of course, just to make sure it's clearly understood, it's the sort of ancient Egyptian concept of truth, balance, order, harmony, law, morality, and justice. Give the opening statement, but it's balance. Yeah, and if these concepts were taught to all of our children before they reach the age of 5, before they begin school formally, okay, that would put them in really good stead. And it's possible, my chief, that I've deliberately referred to as my chief because, if I may say so, it's your words as you utter them, others will follow. It's not my word. It's your words that they will follow. And it's possible that we need to encourage additional schools, Saturday schools, whatever you want to call them, right across Britain. Only a few weeks ago, we had Brother Nia, of the Black Supplementary Schools Association, okay, here present, and he gave a call out for Saturday schools, supplementary schools that exist to register with the website so that when parents want to provide this service to their children, they know where to go and where to locate the service. So we need more of our schools that teach history, culture, history, traditions, teach our children our canons, teach them and to appreciate the majesty that is the African history. Okay, they need to be taught that so they can hold up their heads up high. Because the whole purpose of negative propaganda and why we are engaged in the de-brainwashing is to undermine their confidence, their spirituality, undermine their ability to achieve, or constructively or indeed overtly obstruct their progression. Okay, that's what it is.
Grounding is very important.
Yeah.
Grounding is very important to our young people.
Mm-hmm.
I went through 2 forms of initiation.
Mm-hmm.
My first initiation.
Before you do that, I believe Lady Cho's got a question about you and your.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll wait that question.
Let's ask that question now. Let's go on.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's so the motivator has told me that you're born in Jamaica, but you're now a chief in Sierra Leone. I just wanted to know how that was possible and how you got to that position.
Chief.
I think it's a question that many people ask me. And when I speak and people said, well, you haven't got an African accent. And I said, no, but I'm a product from Africa. Yes, but where were you born? I was born in Jamaica. So how come you become a chief in Africa? It's a long story. Now, that's one thing that you cannot run away from. You cannot run away from destiny.
Indeed.
And your destiny is part of us. It draws us. It's like your DNA. You can't hide from your DNA. Your DNA permeates right through. And, they have got these things on television now that you can go ancestral DNA to check for your DNA, find out which part of the world you're from. But the DNA is like a magnet. It draws you. Mm-hmm. I've been to 4 of the African countries on the continent. And I was drawn to Ghana. For the first one I went to Ghana. And going to Ghana is beautiful. Ghana reminds me of Jamaica. The people are so welcoming. And they invite me back over and over again. I've been to Ghana 4 times. And then I was invited to go to Sierra Leone. And I went to Sierra Leone. And there's something about Sierra Leone. I went to St. Lucia in the Caribbean. And I start to kind of really, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. And it's like a Rubik cube. And I fit Sierra Leone and St. Lucia because they are like the same country. And then I find out that Jamaica has fit itself in as well. But then when I try to pull myself away, it's like Sierra Leone started to draw me in. Then I became a patron because I saw where, for example, disabled people haven't got no say in Sierra Leone. They're not even being looked at. Disabled children. Mm-hmm. And there are many young children in Sierra Leone that education they haven't got. And the reason for that is because a lot of their people, our parents, become disabled. And so these young children now have to be taking the old people on the street to beg. They haven't got no knowledge of education whatsoever, not even the basic education they haven't got, because they have to be taking the old people on the street to beg, no schooling. And I said, no, I need to do something about this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said to my
to do it, my chief. You have the power to do it. Go on, sorry. Because you have the power to do it. Yeah.
I said, that was before I became a chief. I said, how can I assist?
Mm-hmm.
They said, you have to join the organization. And I joined the organization, and I came back to Britain, and I started to gather bits and pieces to send to the school that the disabled children was going, and to the disabled people where they were going to assist. I sent sewing machine, I sent wheelchair, I sent Zimmer frame, and books, pen and paper for the children in the school. And then I realized that it became part of me in a way that I couldn't depart from it, and I get sucked in. And so I opened a school to assist disabled people and disabled children. Mm-hmm. And I became the head of that, and that became heavy in my pocket. Mm-hmm. Because everything came down on me, because everything was, they ring me, this need, that need, I had to send generator to the school. If the school, there was the school, one of the school that was there, if the school had 200 children, there were times when it comes the rainy season, the 200 children have to go into maybe 3 or 4 classes, because the rest of the classroom, the ceiling was leaking. And the children have to pack in 1 classroom or 2 classrooms. And I said no. And I tried to assist in doing that. And so one year, when I went to open another school, we assist by fitting the roof of a school. And we went to open the school, my beloved brother who had passed away, Brother Abram and I, in a place called Kiambia. And we decided to set up the school, and I went back home and I was resting. And that's after 4 years of traveling to Sierra Leone. I was laying down when someone came to me, Brother Abraham came to me and says to me, Bongo, at the time my name was Bongo Tete. He said, Bongo, what have you done? I said, what do you mean? He said, the paramount chief have just summoned for you to come and see him. And anytime the paramount chief summons someone, it's obviously something is wrong why the paramount chief called to see you. And he said to me, and I said, I haven't done anything. He said, do you want to go to see him now? I said, there's no other time as good as now, because if the paramount chief summons you, whatever you got to do, you're going to drop it and go to the paramount chief. So I dropped what I was doing, and we drove to the paramount chief, maybe about 2 miles away. We drove to his house, and when we got there was like a teepee tent, a massive tent, a round tent, and it was full of people. And I said, and he looked at me, my Brother Abram looked at me, and I looked at him, and all these people was looking at me. They weren't looking at Brother Abram. And I became very nervous to see all these people looking at me because I haven't done anything. And the moment I started to walk across the yard, people started to walk behind me. And I was invited into the tent. And I sat down with all these elders inside the tent, ladies and young people, and they started to look at me. They started speaking Timni, the language of the country at the time. And then they said to me, there's a lady who came from very, very far away that would like to see you. And you'd like to go and see her. They said to me, the paramount chief said to me, you need to take a witness with you. And the only person I know at the time was the paramount chief and Brother Abram as my witness. And I said, Brother Abram, you need to come with me. And cold sweat was washing me because I don't know what I've done. And so we went into the house, and I knocked on the door, and they opened the door, and this very old lady sat in the bed with her feet touching the ground. And behind the lady was like a trough, like a pool, water, very clear water. And as I went in, I stood in front of the lady. All 3 of us stood in front of the lady, the paramount chief, Brother Abram and I stood in the middle. And the lady looked me from top to bottom, up and down. And then she came and she said, take him away, he's clean. All of this time, I don't know what this is all about. All she said, take him away, he's clean. They took me outside on the step. The paramount chief turned around and looked at me and said, would you like to become a chief? I said, I don't know. He said, you are going to become a chief. This lady has come all this way to inform the community that you are going to be the chief. That's why all these people are here. And I tell you something, I felt as if the earth was going to open and take me in. Because I don't know what I'm going to get myself into now to become a chief. Here I am from the Carriers Beyond in Africa, don't know the language, I know you're going to become a chief with so many people that you're now going to be in charge of. The process began. And then, hence where I am now, I end up into the bush. And I think this part of it is where our young people here in Britain need to be part of it, to be initiated. I was initiated in Ghana, where about 200 children, and I was one of 3 adults that was initiated with those young people. Girls, the head was balled off. The boys, the head was balled off. It was uniformity. The girls and the boys, they separated and we all come together, and adults, we all come together at the end, and we were initiated where the name was given to me as Bongo Tete. And so another initiation where I now become a higher chief of now becoming where I am, where I'm in charge of my name, Pa Kombrabai. It's now the father of all chiefs. And that's a very responsible name that was given to me. But it was taken in such a way that I think the army that I've done nearly 11 years in the army, I think that was my pathway to assist me in going into the bush. Going into the bush was the hardest part that anyone can endure. It's an endurance that a lot of our young people will never go through here in the UK. In Africa, a lot of our young people have gone through some form of endurance. Here in Britain, young people, boys and girls, haven't got that form of endurance. Going into the bush was the hardest, as I said, in all my life. And it's one of such that you wouldn't believe that how noisy silent becomes. When the more the place becomes silent, is the more noisy it became. Because now you can hear, your sense of hearing becomes so sensitive now. You can start to hear everything. You can even hear the ant, the beetles in the wall, in the ground. You can hear the movement of the beetle. Because the nights are still. Everything is still. And so you start to see the inner sense, the inner you. I could see the inner me coming out. There were times when I was talking to myself. I could see my shadow of me. The exact imagery of me was standing in front of me while I was in the bush, and I was talking to myself. That is something that takes a lot for this to happen. A lot of us as people will never go through that. And so to initiate in that sense, a lot of our young people need to have some form of initiation to know the word. And so when I hear people talk about, and I listen to Brother Adam, who speak about Ma'at, the principle of Ma'at is not one of such that if you don't have the knowledge of initiation, you cannot do the form of manhood or womanhood into the principle of where we are today. It is not easy.
I hear you.
Wow. It is not easy.
42 steps to Mahat is an interesting concept. And what you're describing, of course, is spiritually really from bring one truly alive. They could see the real Chief Pa Kombrabai. I'm going to keep calling you Chief Pa Kombrabai. I don't recall the earlier names, you see. I can only see you as you are now.
But that's the only name that I'm supposed to be called. That is the only name I'm supposed to be called. All the other names are being eroded, has been taken away, has been wiped out. It's a new birth. The change is a birth of a new you. And so the name Chief Pa Kombrabai. And one of the most important part of this, you know, many people who have seen me, who know me, I've seen the changes. I don't think I have seen the change, but I know that there are changes that I have made within the process of becoming a chief. The name Chief Pa Kombrabai didn't just come from an individual, and this is unique. The name Chief Pa Kombrabai came out of the water. This was said by the word Pa Kombrabai, by the word from a fish.
Mhm.
It's the fish that came up and gave the name Pa Kombrabai.
Wow.
So when you tell somebody the name Pa Kombrabai, for example, in Sierra Leone, they know exactly how that name is put together and how that name come by. There are clothing that I have to wear, especially ceremonial events that I have to wear. For example, if I should meet Lady Chelsea, I won't be able to touch her. She won't be able to touch me. So there's a certain time I have to keep myself away from even my own brothers and sisters. I have to stand away from them, keep myself sterile from certain situations that's around me. You know, so what I am practicing to become is a ceremonial chief, whereby I will be licensed to marry somebody. I'll be licensed to lay someone to rest if someone has passed away, and that is the role of my name, Pa Kombrabai, as a ceremonial chief.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, my chief. Thank you. Thank you. I think Lady Chelsea may have made one or two last questions, and I'm conscious of time now, of course.
I'm good. I don't have any more.
No. Okay. In that case, let me just take over. In that case, that was a truly inspired account of how you became a chief. In other words, an African, regardless of where they're born, on the continent, the Caribbean, the Americas, or even here in Europe, can, provided their heart is pure, and they give without seeking reward, the potential for chieftainship is there if it is seen by the right people. And therefore we are reconnecting. Finally, the children of Africa are coming back, reconnecting finally, and that reconnection means that our collective spiritual energy is rising, and I can feel it rising. Notwithstanding recently what's happened with some of our young boys recently, though, my chief, but I can feel the energy rising, the confidence is rising, and which is why I hope we do the Galaxy, the forum, and we have those broader social discussions, how the community are going to continue to assert its influence over the areas that it resides. Vitally important, so that young people like Chelsea will see us in positions of responsibility, influencing her life development, or indeed soon to come. Well, soon.
You know, my brother, and I say this, and I'm not. I don't. This is not something I want it to happen. If and when I go to Sierra Leone, and go to Lokomasama, Port Luca district in Lokomasama, the moment the people know that I'm there, they start to beat a drum.
Okay.
They start to beat a drum. And they beat that drum, and wherever I reside, that house has never, ever been empty with people. It's always flooded. And so whichever house that I stay, I always go there. The first thing that I do, I make sure they buy a bag of rice, a big sack of rice. Because people are always coming with a bowl for something. And those who cannot take it, you have to feed them. And that's part of the responsibility of becoming a chief. And so it is unique, whereby I will go to Sierra Leone now, and I will walk in, and they know that I'm there. I will have a policeman knock at my door. And that policeman will always there, even going to the airport, he will escort me to the airport, because of the importance of the name and the role that I play within the community that I reside when I go to Sierra Leone.
I hear you. I'm going to hand back to Lady Chelsea for anything closing statements you want to give, but I'm conscious we've only got 4 minutes. Let me give it to Lady Chelsea.
Thank you for coming. That was really informative, especially the last bit. I didn't understand how you got the chieftain and stuff like that, but it's very interesting. And I suppose, I don't know, like, thank you for your work with the station and out there, and you're doing a lot of good stuff and stuff to inspire people my age and above. So thank you for coming and talking to us.
Thank you very much. Maybe another time I will go through, because I kind of really dilute part of it just for the period of, and we got on very late. But maybe another time I will go through step by step, so it will be more explanatory. You'll be able to understand the process that I went through in becoming a chief, because it's not as easy. In talking about it within, say, 15 minutes, it's more than 15 minutes journey.
Yeah.
And you can't use, say, the starting from its start within the week of planning to 2 years in talking about it in 15 minutes. We can't do that.
Yeah.
It's a long process. So maybe in a period of time, you'll be able to understand stages by stages of how I become a chief and the importance of becoming a chief. And for people like yourself, initiation in your African self.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, finding yourself, finding ourselves. Powerful, 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 powerful. And yes, you're right, we started a little late, but you know what? It was a short period of time, but it's high quality time. Truly, truly inspired. And I'm going to watch it again and again and again. My chief, thank you. Thank you for honoring us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, we got the technology to work, but it's fine. It is fine.
Well, it does work because I decided to persevere, and I said, no, I have to try. But what you showed me, I did something totally different, and I managed to find it.
Oh, I'll say nothing. I'll say nothing, right?
All right. Thank you.
My chief, thank you for joining us, and stay strong and prosper. And long may Galaxy Radio go from strength to strength. Thank you for the honor. Thank you. Thank you. Bless it. Bless it. Lady Chelsea, wow, what a program that was, huh?
Yeah, very good.
What a program. Truly inspired. And you understand now why I call his name every program. The founder and leader. Inspired, an inspired person. And long may such people continue to exist and continue to expand their influence over the community. Because I'm sure with the outcomes, if we can encourage others from both across Britain and across the world, we presenters here, that the Galaxy Radio has a truly international feel to it. And if we can encourage the radio station to hold the information forums, which are usually empowerment experiences, to encourage people to get involved in school governorships, heads of hospitals, heads of councils, and so on. There's so much we can do together, but we have to come together collectively to have those strategic discussions. Anything is possible. Where there's hope, there is possibility. That's why I love Empress Shanice. She's outstanding. Solution finder, a mountain of intelligence, someone who can drive people forward. Oh yeah, we cannot go wrong. Lady Chelsea, I feel renewed.
Good.
I can go run another 10 miles now. You want to come join me?
I'm good.
Come on, Lady Chelsea. Did you say no? For the audience, thank you. Thank you for staying with us. And I hope you would agree this was an outstanding show. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your listening ears and watching us as well. Thank you. Lady Chelsea?
Thank you, everyone. Thanks. Bye.
Take care. See you next week, or indeed, or next week will be special. It'll be a collage of different programs, all one after another. But anyway, good day to you all. Good day. Stay safe.
Okay. Bye. Bye, everyone.
And anyway, good day to you all. Good day. Stay safe. Stay safe. Mm-hmm.